सो हाय मुस्कान, सबसे पहले आप अपना इंट्रोडक्शन देंगे बच्चे।
So hello everyone, I am Muskaan Agrawal. I hail from Nagpur. I had commerce with maths for my 11th and 12th, and I took up law quite early. Decided to do law quite early, like back in my 11th standard.
Mm-hmm.
But like every late riser, I took up the decision of giving CLAT a little bit. So that's about it.
तो
For
फैमिली से ही लॉ बैकग्राउंड है या यू हैव मतलब दिस यू आर अ फर्स्ट जेन लॉयर?
No, ma'am, there's no one literally lateral and horizontal who has done law in my family. I am the
हम्म.
first person who's taking it up. That was one of the like key factors which me and my parents were discussing, that दूर दूर तक family में कोई lawyer नहीं है. We know that this field requires connection. Coming from a business family, that's something that my father was a little apprehensive of. Plus,
True.
there does exist that myth that लड़कियां law कर रही है. So then, but my family has been very supportive. They just, if like you want to do it, go ahead, do it. No worries at all.
तो कैसे मतलब व्हाई डिड यू चूज लॉ? मतलब व्हेन यू सॉ कि बिजनेस फैमिली से हो बट स्टिल वेंट फॉर लॉ.
Actually, ma'am, I had been a straight A student throughout my student life.
हम्म.
I had a 97.8 in my 10th. So for like every relative and everyone, it was like a science legi, medical kar legi. But I had been a very good debater in school. I had taken part in a lot of MUN, winning वहाँ पे, and that actually like I had been good at many things in my school life. But doing MUN, debating, that was like a passion for me. I felt happy while doing it. So I chose my happiness rather than any other route that any student would have taken. Taking science, even I was given an option कि you take science abhi. If you
हम्म.
decide that you want to do law after studying science for 11th and 12th, we can accommodate that. But I was like, नहीं, जो law करना है, law ही करना है.
So that is the best combination you found, commerce with maths?
No, actually, that was kind of a backup in case something happens. Then commerce
Mm-hmm.
will always be a backup. Plus, I have an affinity for the corporate world. I like to stay updated with the company affairs and everything. I had taken part in a corporate quizzes in 9th and 10th. So, and even that, and I love maths. Like, quite opposite to literally many of the CLAT aspirants. I love maths instead of hating maths.
What was your exact CLAT rank and which college did you get?
So, ma'am, I had a AIR 435 in CLAT
Mm-hmm.
and 229 in ALET. And I was assigned GNLU, but due to my priorities and my future goals, I'll be going to General Global Law.
Okay. So, as your batch was a little struggling batch, just 6 months time was given for
I
CLAT
know, ma'am, I
preparation,
know.
right?
I know.
So, how did you manage? मतलब first the panic and this new thing कि मतलब सिर्फ 6 months है, एक साल में 2 CLAT होना itself is a thing. How did you balance school and CLAT, or how did you manage CLAT in just 6 months? मतलब how did you take this up?
So, ma'am, I'll give a thoda sa long answer for this, if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
sure.
mind.
Take your time.
So, first, I'll tell you the story when we got to know that CLAT's happening 6 months preponed.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were in school. Abhinav is a very good friend of mine. Abhinav and I were organizing an MUN at that point of time. We organized the biggest MUN in Central Asia, Senman, for everyone. थोड़ा सा advertising चलेगा ना. So we were organizing that MUN at the time, and we had planned it for a little later. But we got the notice that CLAT preponed for six
Mm-hmm.
months straight, and we that was around this is around June, I guess.
June. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are in a state of panic. Like, what do we do? Do we abandon our duties over here? Do we focus on studies? So that was a really fucked up phase, thoda sa, because we were all in panic situation. What do we do? We had been missing our mocks for quite a lot of time back then, because we used to be in school on every day from 9 to 4. So we had not given a lot of mocks then as well. So, and that day we went, and that was a Saturday when the news was announced. So we were like, okay, we'll take the first step. We'll go and give a mock tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we gave a mock on Sunday, and we were just praying that score bade na bade, come to now. So score तो कम हुआ, That's a story for another time. But then it all worked out. All you needed was a little bit of patience and a faith in yourself that whatever you have been doing till now, everyone has been in the same situation. तुम्हारे लिए थोड़ा ना prepone हुआ है, सबके लिए prepone हुआ है. So that is how. Then what I personally did is I divided my CLAT journey into 2 points: before Diwali and after Diwali. Before Diwali, I even went to school because though commerce is not that a heavy of subject, but eventually boards to dena hi tha. So missing a lot over there would not have made sense. So I went to school till Diwali, and then I used to come home, read my newspaper, solve a few passages, the daily thing. Most of my focus was in current affairs because this is my personal belief कि anyone who has a decent language and has been studying English from class 1 will hack CLAT somehow. But the main problematic points are QT and current affairs.
Correct.
So, and QT was, though I did not score that well in QT on the final day, but QT was a no-brainer for me. I used to get 15 straight in QT in mock as well. So that was it. But there was a time that after the Diwali phase, that my scores were stuck on 80s. I used to book a session with you every week, I suppose, at that time. I even cried a time or two in front of you, I guess. So that was a very, very bad phase for me. I used to cry the whole day. My mom was like, do you not want to give CLAT? It's okay. You cannot give CLAT. You can give up. No worries. But I was like, nahin, ab padha hai to de ke to aayenge. Plus, I gave CLAT in 11th as well. Like just going and giving CLAT. And that time my mock scores were good, as you remember.
Yeah.
But even then I got a rank of 1168. So that is something I cried over a lot after that as well. So basically before Diwali, half my CLAT preparation was crying. But after that, I realized that this is not gonna work. Otherwise, you'll be left crying in January as well when you'll have no college in hand. So I got myself back together. After Diwali, I had planned that I won't go to school because it eats up a lot of your time. And you have to revise so much of current affairs from the past 6 months. Plus, we were not covering current affairs that seriously for the previous 6 months that we were not supposed to cover. But suddenly we had to...
Course completely changed for current affairs.
Yeah. So we had to accommodate that 6 months in our ambit as well. So we had to basically restudy those 6 months because even mentors told us that 1 year ka current affair is relevant for us. So we started अच्छे से June से ही, but then we had to study back December 2021 से June 2022 तक भी अच्छे से. So that was a lot of work, going through compendiums, going through monthly articles. For GK, I would really suggest everyone, please limit your sources. That is a mistake I made a lot of time and finally understood it in November, as ma'am knows. And in November, I narrowed down my sources to 2 sources and then it all worked out. But yeah, so don't study everything under the sun because you'll legit find so many things to study from, but you cannot
cover
everything.
LE sources are usually sufficient and we can just go through them and we'll be fine, right?
LE sources and newspapers.
Yeah.
You cannot leave the newspapers. Like those are like, I know this gets irritating at a point that every interview on YouTube, everyone's saying कि newspaper को Bible जैसे पढ़ो, newspaper को Bible जैसे पढ़ो. But once you give your final CLAT, you understand कि हाँ, newspaper was the one.
So there were some unforeseen things also in your life when you were preparing for CLAT, which you couldn't avoid. So how did you come back on track with your studies? How did you balance that? And what all things happened? And then how did you balance? Because a lot of unforeseeable things happen with our kids as well, but then they either lose it completely and they don't ever want to come back. So what would be your tip on that?
So I was not planning on talking about this, but in end November, high time before CLAT, I was diagnosed with dengue. And dengue was running high at that time. Every other person was getting dengue. And so did I. And for me, it was a little severe. A lot of platelets went down and everything. So even though I recovered in 4-5 days, dengue has an associated fatigue with it, which did last a month for me. I could not sit up straight for 15 days. So again, the crying Muskaan had taken place again, but that was not a bad phase though, because I had faith in myself at that moment कि मैंने अभी तक जो पढ़ा है वो मुझे आता है. Be it, चलो current affairs ही थोड़ा सा lag हो रहा है ना पीछे. I know my English is good. I know my CR is good. I know I have been very much updated with my legal current knowledge. I did never miss that Zainab ma'am, even though it was a 3-hour lecture, but I used to watch it in one go. And that is not actually humanly possible. You'll take time to get to those 3-hour lectures, but I did not miss it a single time, because उसमें used to get पूरे month का legal current एक बार, which is very much a sorted resource for legal current knowledge. So I knew that current affairs lag मार रहा है, लेकिन I know मेरे बाकी 4 sections are pretty decent, if not good. So I should not, and I knew कि at that point of time, if I fall down, I'll go down spiraling. There'll be no space for me to come up. So that was and that time I realized that you should take care of your health as well. In CLAT, there were times that I used to play basketball a lot during my high school. So I had given up on it completely while CLAT. So I regretted that. Had I been doing some physical exercise or doing something, please keep one hobby with you during CLAT. That will be my one advice to all my juniors. I love playing music. So I did not play for a long time, but so keep your hobbies with you during CLAT.
So the way CLAT pattern changed in your case, the time limitation wala problem occurred.
Even this time something has changed, right? My juniors were telling
now
me.
the question paper pattern changed. 120 questions in 120 minutes. So what would be your take on this? What would you suggest our students? कि क्या सच में इतना प्रॉब्लम करता है, या मतलब ये पेपर पैटर्न का चेंज, इज इट सच अ बिग प्रॉब्लम कि हम डील ही ना कर पाए, या इट्स ओके एंड इट्स फॉर एवरीवन, सो वी कैन जस्ट फिगर थिंग्स आउट?
आई वुड से डेफिनेटली ओके, बिकॉज हम लोग को क्लैट के लिए भी तो पढ़ ही रहते ना हम लोग. And CLAT के लिए we were studying haywire because we did not know what to expect. I don't think this year also we expect what to expect for A-Levels, right?
True.
And with CLAT pattern changing, that is something our seniors have already encountered once. They went from a singular line CLAT pattern to a passage-based CLAT pattern, though they had a sample paper. But that does not matter a lot according to me, because the foundational subject, English is going to be English. They are going to test you on grammar, vocabulary, and your comprehension. Critical reasoning, unless you know the basics, you cannot solve the question. Legal current affairs, you have to have that knack of cracking out the principle out of that whole passage. So, and I would actually take that, as I was telling my juniors, that there are two kinds of people who came to me. One who were like, दीदी competition बढ़ जाएगा because questions कम हो गए, because हमारी reading speed ज़्यादा. People are panicking in that way also, that who were good, they were panicking कि अब हमारे साथ क्या होगा. I was like, bro, chill, कुछ अच्छा ही हुआ है ना. So they were panicking like that, and everyone else was like, actually this should be viewed as an advantage कि reading time ज़्यादा मिलेगा पेपर में. जो लोगों का पेपर छूटता था, फॉन्ट के लिए टाइम नहीं मिलता था, वो मिलेगा. And for those who are worrying about it in that sense कि competition बढ़ जाएगा, तो ठीक है ना भाई, मजा आएगा.
So how was your journey in LegalEdge?
See, I'll be very honest. If you want to join, I was an online student, though a Nagpur branch is open right now. I hate LegalEdge for that. That why they did not do it at my time. But my journey with LegalEdge was awesome. But this is a very big disclaimer that you have to be consistent on your own effort, because no one can hammer you कि जाओ live class join करो. You have to be on your own accord and be vigilant. I have to join a live class right now. I tell people that there are a lot of unparalleled material available on the LegalEdge portal. Like I still watch. I still have my Super 30 batch access, so I still watch Swapnil sir ke GK shorts when they come, because they are just a source of curious tidbit trivia for me right now. But there are a lot of sources. I do not know how many of the people use this, but there was a compendium that LE released called 75 Most Important Articles Monthly. Many of my batchmates did not use it, but I did because it was a very good reading source. Like हम लोग एक पॉइंट के बाद पागल हो जाते हैं, पढ़े क्या, सब तो पढ़ लिया. रीडिंग करे तो कहाँ से करें, न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ लिया, सब पढ़ लिया. Even though those are newspaper articles only, they are such good language articles sorted out for us separately. इवन दो तीन नहीं थे पोर्टल पे अपलोडेड, तो मैंने टीम को 10 बार मेल करके वो अपलोड करवाई कि नहीं मेरे को चाहिए, आप अपलोड करो. So there's a lot of material available on LegalEdge का portal. There are lectures, there are sheets, and you have your RSM. RSM अगर तुमने खत्म कर लिया तो trust me, you're sorted. And उसके बाद फिर GMB घर पे आ ही जाती है. When you think, wow, मैंने सारा material कर लिया है. So you have GMB, and we also had one more पतली पतली booklet. I don't remember the name. जो दिवाली के अराउंड ही आई थी.
Legally.
नहीं, legally तो current affairs वाली. CLAT.
Yeah. Now it is included in the RSMs only. Reason being, वो फिर multiple times dispatch होता था. Students used to get curious, so we just gave it in one go. We compiled it and we gave it to them.
So there's a lot of material LegalEdge provides, and there's a lot of material the Telegram community provides. So beware of that material as well. I was that one person for GK, not for other subjects.
Mm-hmm.
I used to save and download every material Telegram used to offer.
So was it a good idea?
It was not a very good idea because I am not Superman. I cannot consume that much of knowledge. So that is something I understood very, very, very late in my journey. November में Samriddhi ma'am and I nailed it down to 2 materials then for revising at least. So that is all. And a lot of MCQ practice is something we did not do for GK. So that is one thing I like to advise people on GK.
ठीक है. So मतलब अगर हम ये बोलें कि अगर आपकी initially mock scores whatever you when you joined, so उसके बाद जब वो first time वो low scores आए थे, तो what did you feel? मतलब ऐसा give up करने का feel हुआ था? Or and how did you cope up with that? And how did you reach these scores? And now you are in a college.
So, ma'am, my first mock score, I remember it very clearly, was 54. Right. And I was like, no, this cannot happen. मेरी English अच्छी है, ये नहीं हो सकता. So but that was back in when I started. So, but then it gradually improved. But फिर LegalEdge ने legal section हाथ डालना चालू कर दिया. So it went down again. But one thing you told me as well, and I also realized it's all about the percentile and not your score. Because at the end of the day, it's a competitive exam. You need to know कि तुम कितने लोगों को पीछे छोड़ रहे हो. Even if you get 120 and your percentile is 60, does not matter. And even if you get an 82 and your percentile is 96, that's a lot better score. So that is something I understood very late again. I used to compare my mock scores on a graph. कि 60 से 80 जा रहा है, 80 से 82 आ रहा है, फिर 90 जा रहा है. But that was not a very good analysis. क्योंकि मुझे नहीं मालूम ना वो वाला मॉक कितना हार्ड बना था या कितना इजी बना था. So I then started tracking my rank and percentile. That was a very good decision, which told me that कि नहीं ऐसे जाना है और ऐसे जाना है. And there was one time that I was scoring around 92 percentile. This is around September, October. And suddenly it went down to 80s. I do not know why. Maybe more people started getting serious and giving mocks, and I do not know the reason for it still. But it went down a straight downhill. So that was a very bad phase again. But you'll have to understand this about CLAT, that you are gonna have a lot of bad phases because
true.
It's an exam which does not have a very clear syllabus. They can ask you anything. This is something like people often come and tell you that you are doing Lord's CLAT. You are not giving J, you are not giving NEET. I'm like, bro, you have a syllabus. We do not have a syllabus.
True.
So they say that they have a buttload of syllabus. I'm like, even if you have 1,000 pages of syllabus, we have current affairs. That is something you cannot beat us on.
True.
So so as I said, that CLAT is supposed to be a journey of a lot of bad phases and a lot of good phases as well. So whenever I remember the date exact. I think it was 12th September because it's one of the birthdays of one of my family members as well. That day I got my first under 20 rank in a LegalEdge.
Yeah, I also remember you came.
Uh, I think we met. I texted you at one in
Yes.
the night that day. Yeah. So yeah, that was a very very great feeling. So you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have good days. So you have to hold on to those good days in your bad days and move ahead. Because see, अभी एक point आएगा, मतलब बहुत सारे लोगों का आ चुका होगा, बहुत सारे लोग का आएगा, जब लगेगा कि नहीं भाई क्यों कर रहे हैं अपन ये, why are we torturing ourselves so much? But you have to understand that it's for your future. अगर तुमको अच्छे कॉलेज जाना है, you want to be surrounded with good people, you want to make a name for yourself, you want to make your parents proud, that this is just a small price to play. You just have to do your duty, study.
Leave rest to the paper.
Leave left to the paper, definitely. Ma'am, I know people who have been like ranking in the top 10 in every LE mock, going downhill on the paper day. Many people from Super 30, in fact.
Yeah.
Just because they got so panicked. Even you remember my ALET did not, I thought my ALET did not go very well because that was supposed to be a thought in everyone's head, given the paper we were given, though it turned out to be good. But that day I was very depressed 1 week before CLAT. I have lost one exam. It's completely out of my hand right now. So maybe many people let that affect their CLAT.
True.
And people who should have been in NLS right now. So it's all, CLAT is an exam a lot based on your mindset. Even if you're not getting a mock score, if you like make yourself believe, I think fake it till you make it does sound a
You never know
perfect
एग्जाम
idiom
में
made for
कुछ
CLAT.
एकदम सब आ जाए.
हाँ,
That way.
चलेगा. तुमने मतलब दो ऐसी नौबत मत लाना कि साल भर पढ़ाई नहीं की, करंट अफेयर्स तुक्के मार के आ रहे हो. बट इवन इफ वैसी नौबत आती है, योर एटीट्यूड शुड बी लाइक, आज तो मैं जो तुक्के मारूंगी वो भी सही जाएंगे.
Nice. Good tip.
Because that is the mindset you have to be in while you're giving the paper. I'm talking about only those 2 hours inside the paper. जाने से पहले ऐसा मत सोचना, please. But when you're inside that room, it's like if I'm even making a pattern out of the OMR, and again I'm putting a disclaimer only inside the 2 hours of the paper. You should be that confident in your pattern कि नहीं, यही examiner ने भी बनाया
Behaving
होगा.
like a lion, right?
Definitely. More like a fox, not even a lion.
Okay.
Be cunning inside
True.
the paper. The examiner is trying to mess with your head, you mess with his head instead.
Right. Works. So, what would be your tip as you were a fresher? So, what would be your tip to the 12th graders who are just giving CLAT with their school?
So let me tell you, boards के लिए, as it is, people study one night before the exam.
True.
This is something, even if you have been a student who studies from day 1, 10th तक या कोई भी, हर इंसान बोर्ड के लिए एक रात पहले ही पढ़ता है, या बोर्ड की जो छुट्टियां होती है उसमें ही पढ़ता है. So better give this time to CLAT. I would highly recommend that attend your school classes, because ultimately that will help you a lot. But when you're at home, when you're getting time for self-study, and now the pattern has become so much more reliable that in December you get done with your CLAT and A-level. So anyways, you can focus on your board for the next 6 months.
Right.
And
Next 2-3 months and easily वो इतना कम syllabus हो जाता है क्योंकि CLAT तो already इतना सारा पढ़ ही लिया था इतने में कम
Ma'am, trust me. I was a commerce student. I have a subject called business studies. It's just one book. And with CLAT, हम लोग को 400-500 पेज पढ़ने की आदत हो गई थी करंट अफेयर्स की. कोई भी मंथली मैगजीन आती थी, so we used to read that much. I had read that book over and over again 5 times in one book, and just went and gave my board paper. I did nothing else for that paper. So CLAT develops that capacity in you that you can study your board syllabus very easily. unless it's a practical syllabus like math that you'll have to practice, or account for that matter. But most of the students are humanities students. So you will be able to quickly do your syllabus, whatever theory syllabus you have, in within 10 days if you have studied properly for CLAT. And ma'am, I just want to say this, that as I was describing the mindset before CLAT wala thing. In Nagpur, the day ALET happened, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was supposed to be in Nagpur on that day. So we were called 4 hours before to the center, just in case like any of us get stuck in traffic or whatever. So on that day, everyone, all our CLAT friends and everyone who went to coaching together, or I met some of my ED friends that day for the first time. We legit had a picnic at MNLU Nagpur that day. There's a lake inside MNLU Nagpur, a small lake kind of thing. We sat there, we ate sandwiches, we drank coffee, and we were legit having a picnic on that day. And trust me, हमारे A-list हमारे CLAT से बहुत better गए. So because हम लोग का mindset उस दिन एकदम मस्ती वाला था.
Calm mind से पेपर देना instead of panicking and reading till the last moment and एकदम अंदर तक जा रहे हैं तब भी revise कर रहे हैं.
Actually, we were reading till the last moment that day also, but our parents were like, हो गया जितना पढ़ना था पढ़ लो. Our parents were there with us at the center, and they all snatched our books and took it away with them. And then for the next 2 hours, we were like just having a picnic over there. So that had a very positive impact on our papers. हमारा A-Let के टाइम पे even that was such a big of a surprise कि English and Logical clubbed for a single passage. I think most of us were not that affected by it. ठीक है कर लेते हैं. And I speak for my whole group. So I think that mindset has a very big role to play when you're giving CLAT and A-Let or any law entrance for that matter.